Good day everyone. Welcome back to Learning with JD. In today's session, we are going to cover the project resource management. So what we've done is, for the understanding and for easy grasp of this section, we've broken down this into three parts. We are going to cover the part 1 today, and let me quickly tell you what are we going to cover today. We are going to see how we are going to plan the resources. We are also going to see how should we estimate the activity of all these resources, right? So these are the 6 processes which are a part of the process group: the plan resource management, estimate activity resource, 3 in executing, and 1 in monitoring and controlling. In today's session, we are going to cover the planning part of it. So what is plan? We've spoken about this previously also. Planning only means about how, defining how we are going to estimate, acquire, manage, and use the particular team. Very importantly, you need to make sure to understand that here we are not talking only about resources. We are also talking about the physical resources. Here it's not only about human. Here we are also talking about the machineries that you will need, the raw materials that you need, etc. Right? The key benefit of this process is to estimate the approach and the level of management effort, right? So at the beginning of the project itself, when you know what are the kind of resources you need, what are the kind of people you need, it's going to be easier for you to manage it. And then depending upon the complexity and the type of your project, it will be as detailed as it can be. Some of the key concepts here is that whatever the project team is assigned to you, right, or whatever the project team you need to assign roles and responsibilities to that. What is the particular person going to do? What is the particular team going to do? What is the shared project goal that they need to achieve? How is the project manager acquiring the team? What are the efforts that the project manager has to put to manage and motivate the team and empower the team? So all these things are going to be a part of the resource management process. The project manager should not only be a manager, he should also be like a leader. He should be in a position to give power to the team as well as manage them. It's not just that, assign a work and then forget about it. No, the project manager should also be managing the team and ensuring that the team learns and develops and grows as the project moves on. It's not only at the time of the various processes that we have, that is initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling and closing, but even at the time of movement from project phases, from a phase 1 to a phase 2 to a phase 3, the project manager should always handhold the team. If the project manager, what happens if the project manager is not successful in doing that? Obviously they'll fail, right? The team fails, the project fails, the project manager fails as well. For example, if the project manager is not able to secure the critical equipments that are required, that will be delay in the manufacturing of the final product. If they order a low quality material, there will be a damage to the product, right? Or if there is a particular inventory which is kept, which is bought and kept in store, it increases the operational cost. So they need to ensure that all these things are taken into consideration. Some of the trending and emerging practices under the resources that the project manager should be able to manage his resources, right? So if there is a particular resource which is very limited in the industry, now when you talk about ML, the machine learning today, you talk about artificial intelligence, these kind of resources are very less in the industry. So the project manager is to ensure that that particular person is going to be available when it is needed. Even the emotional intelligence, right, the emotion quotient, the EQ, the EI has to be very high of the project manager. Gone are the days where the project manager used to just dictate the team. Now the project manager has to be very flexible with the team. They should know, they should have a relationship with the team. They should know what are the problems of the team, how can he help the team. Even organizing, right? He should be in a position to manage and organize the team in a very agile manner. He cannot be rigid that, okay, if a team member is not available, he won't be a part of the team. That's not possible, right? That doesn't work these days. In terms of virtual teams and distributed teams, Lot of projects are globalized, teams sit across everywhere. The team manager, the project manager, is to ensure that he is in well connect with the team. Similarly, if it would have been like a physical environment, he should be managing that in the co-location environment as well. Some of the tailoring consideration that needs to be taken care as is the project manager should know what is the diversity background of the team, which location the team is going to be in, what is the industry specific resources that are needed, how are they going to acquire the resources, how will they manage it, ensure that what are the kind of trainings that team needs, right? How will they manage the life cycle approaches? All these are the tailoring consideration. What do you mean by tailoring? It is custom made. There is no one size fit all here. It has to be customized basis the project, basis the complexity, basis your organization. While the project manager is working on all these, they also have to consider the kind of agile and the adaptive environment the industry is moving these days, right? Projects with high variability benefits from team structure that maximize focus and collaboration. Collaboration is boosts the productivity of the team. Collaboration is always helpful for including it as a part of the activity, which can help the team to motivate, they get motivated, improve communication, increase the knowledge sharing. So collaboration is extremely important. Now let's see what do we need for planning the resource, right? So the name of the process is planned resource management. Again, these resources are people as well as the physical resources. So the project charter. Why do we need the project charter? Because it has the high level project description and some of the key stakeholder list which is already available, right? So have you ever come across a scenario where you work for a project and even before the project has started, there is instruction from your sponsor or from a particular team that this person has to be a part of the team, right? Because of some experience, because of some knowledge that he holds, he will be a part of it. So hence, when you're doing your resource management, it's important for you to know that what are the kind of people which has to be aligned to it. Even the summary milestones, right? What are the kind of financial resources that you need? All that is a part of the project charter. Coming to the project management plan, of course you need the project management plan, right? The quality management plan, the scope baseline, quality management plan defines you the level of quality of resources that you need. Again, the raw material. So all that is a part of the quality management plan. You need the scope baseline because it finally identifies the deliverables and what kind of types of resources and quality of resources that you will need and you will need to manage. All the other documents which are not a part of the project management plan are part of the project document. So the project schedule, you should know when you need the resources. You will not take the resources and make them sit on the bench when you are not requiring them. You will take them only when that particular task comes. The requirement document, right? You need to know what the actual work is to be done. The risk register, what are the threats and opportunities of managing both if you get the resource, you don't get the resource. The stakeholder register, important because the information on all the stakeholders is mentioned in the stakeholder register. You need to know what's happening around your organization, what's happening within the organization, and hence EEFs and the OPAs are extremely important. What are the kind of tools and techniques that can be used? The most simplest one is the expert judgment. We know experts get job everywhere. Now, who's an expert? Somebody who's already worked in the project, can be a person who's good in negotiation, a talent management or a development personnel, or any person who has acquired these kind of resources in the past or knows how to do the retention of some resources are the expert judgment who can help you out with creating a resource management plan. You can use some data representation techniques. Your data representation techniques may include charts. It can have some hierarchy or matrix or text oriented charts, formats. Project assignments are listed in the subsidiary plan, such as the risk, quality, or the communication management plan. You have to be within the boundaries of the organization. We said, right, each organization has its own culture. Each organization is grown in a particular manner. So when you're managing people, understand, when you're managing people, you have to be within the boundaries of your organization. So what is the behavior of your team? What is the behavior of an organizational unit? It's important for you to identify that. So you have to be within that boundary. You have to work within the organizational structure, the organizational theory. You can conduct meetings, you can call the project team, and you can hold meetings, and you can prepare your resource management plan. This is the most easiest and the most convenient way of doing it. Your project team will definitely help you out for that. Go ahead. So if you need help, go ahead, talk to your project team, hold some meetings, and prepare your resource management plan. Of course, the output has to be the resource management plan. So when you are working on something, you're trying to create a document, you have taken some input, you've taken some previous documents that you've already created, you used some tools and techniques to, understand what the market is going, what the organization is talking about, what is the expert talking about, what is the data representation, etc. And you create your resource management plan. Now again, I'm telling you, please reiterate on the point that we are not actually working on the project. We are only planning the project. Do you have all these resources? No. You are only planning how are you going to manage the resources, which means how are you going to do the identification of the resources. Have you done the identification right now? Probably no. You've only planned how will you do that. How are you going to acquire resource? What will be the roles and responsibilities? What will be the project organizational chart? What will be the kind of training, team development activities that the team will need? You're putting all these. Now the resource management plan is nothing but a part of the project management plan. It's a subsidiary of the project management plan. So now that the project management plan is updated, the resource management plan is a part of it. The team charter is also created. The team charter is a document that establishes the team value, the agreement, and the operating guidelines for the team. It will include the communication guideline, the decision-making criteria, conflict resolution, right? So in case if there has been any conflict, how will the team manage it? Some project documents will also get updated. So the risk register will get updated, the assumption log will get updated. You have created some assumption. This resource is available, that resource is available. Now you suddenly know that in case if that resource is not available, how are you going to manage it? So hence assumption logs will also get updated. You will also update the risk register because you need to update the risk associated with a team or a physical resource. What do you mean by that? You are anticipating a cost of a raw material to be available, but just in case if the cost of the raw material increases, your resources may not be available, and hence it's a risk, and hence you update it as a part of the risk register. So that's about the plan resource management. We will now look at how are we going to estimate the activity resources. So what is the estimate activity resource process all about? It's about estimating the team resources and the type and the quantity of material, equipment, and supplies necessary to perform the project work. See, ultimately we need everything for completing the project work, right? Whether it is a team, or whether it is people, whether it is material, equipment, or any of the supplies, we need to now estimate what each activity will need. What is the resource that is required by each of the activity? Now the key benefit of this process is that it identifies the type, the quantity, and the characteristics of resource required to complete the project. A 1-mark question goes here. You can get a 1-mark question here which talks about that you are right now identifying the kind of resources that you need, the characteristics of the resources. What process group are you in? You are into the estimate activity resource group. Got that? Now let's see what are the tools and techniques that we need and what are the inputs and outputs. What do you mean by input? inputs are nothing but some of the documents that you refer to, you need for creating a particular output document, right? So don't get confused. And if you have not seen some of my previous videos, and especially when talks about input output tools and techniques, please refer to those videos. I'll try and paste it in the description box below. It talks about documents, right? Inputs and outputs are nothing but clear documents that you are creating for your project. So the project management plan is something that you've already created. What are the components that you need from them? You need the resource management plan and you need the scope baseline. What is the resource management plan? We just created it, right? It was just an output of the previous process. You've created the resource management plan that talks about what are the kind of resources that you will need, when are you going to do the acquiring, what are the kind of materials that you need, raw materials, etc. So you will take that. You will also take the scope baseline because it identifies the project and the product scope. Understand it, scope baseline not only talks about the project scope, but it also talks about the product scope. And hence it's important for you to understand that what is the product scope and how are you going to estimate it. You also need the project documents. Which has components which are activity attributes, the activity list, the assumption logs, cost estimate, resource calendars, risk registers, etc. You need to know what's happening in and around your organization. Hence your EEFs and the OPAs are extremely important here, because you need to know within your organization what are the policies, what are the procedures of staffing, getting the supplies, equipments, etc. So once you get all these information, you are ready for your estimating the activity resources. Now you will use certain tools and techniques. So what are tools and techniques? Ways, right? Ways of identifying or ways of finding out your output. Expert judgment. Experts get job everywhere. I told you, you can call them. They can help you out with resourcing of the estimating of the resources at an activity level. Bottom-up estimation. What do you mean by bottom-up estimation? We did this previously also. The team and the physical resources are estimated at the activity level. We have defined our activities, remember? We have sequenced the activities, remember? On that activity, you try and identify what are the kind of resources that you will need, and you start aggregating it at a work package level, and then at a control level, and then you create a summary at a project level. From bottom up estimation is all about creating it at the most lowest level of your activity and then aggregating it and creating at a project level. Analogous estimation. We've seen about analogous estimation before also. What do you mean by that? You can get 1 or 2 marks question around this. Analogous estimation uses the information regarding resources from the previous or similar project. What do you mean by that? That some previous project has already happened, some team has already worked on a project like this. You just go ahead, go and talk to them or read some of the lessons learned and try and find out what are the kind of resource activation resource requirement was done, and then you just estimate it accordingly. That is analogous. Parametric estimation is where you use statistical information and some algorithm data with the historical data and some other variables to calculate the resource requirement. This is also based on the historical data, just that some numbers come into picture here. Yeah. You do data analysis. A data analysis technique is the process that talks about alternative analysis. Alternative analysis is used to evaluate identified options. Option can be you buy something, or you make something, or you do not want to purchase it. So that's about data analysis. Project management information systems are systems. It's like softwares which include the resource management software that can help plan, organize. These can be your Gantt charts. All that stuff are a part of the project management information system. We call it PMIS. Meetings. The best way of managing, the project managers can hold planning meetings with the team, with the project team, the resources, and they can come up on a level of estimation. The project team will be the best to tell you what are the kind of resources that they will need for each activity. So you take some documents, you do some tools and techniques, way of managing it. You manage it that way. You try and find out what the information is, and you get the output. The output here is your resource requirement. Now, resource requirement is a document which is created in the estimate activity resource process. See, all these input outputs will be 1 mark questions. Around in your examination, around 20 to 25 questions will be direct, will be all your input and output. So make sure that you mug up, right? So you should know all these. Of course, there's a systematic way of understanding and learning all these, but these are important, very, very important. Resource requirement identifies the type and the quantity of resources required for each work package. See, if you understand and you remember this, then you will obviously remember and you will never forget. But if you try and mug up, it's going to be difficult, but still, I mean, it's the way you can do it. It's your style. Basis of estimate. Now you have done a particular estimation, but it's important for you to document on what basis are you on what basis are you saying that you need so many resources. Now, whether these are people, these are raw material, these are inventory, these are warehouses, you have to write a logical reason on what basis are you saying that these estimations are correct. The resource breakdown structure, you create a resource breakdown structure at a category level or a type level, which is resource type level, in a hierarchical representation, and you present. So that's a resource breakdown structure, RBS we so call it. Some of the project documents get updated, the activity attributes get updated, the assumption log gets updated, right? So there are new assumptions coming up, so you update that. Lessons learned register. Now at this point of time, you are also updating your lessons learned. So for example, if you have taken some lessons learned from the previous project, but you feel that some information is outdated or it's not correct or whatever, you can update that. Got that? So these are the two processes of resource management, which is a part of the planning process, which is planned resource management is a process of defining how to estimate, acquire, manage and use team and physical resources. And estimate activity resources is the process of estimating the team resources and the type and the quantity of material, equipment and supplies necessary to perform the project work. So these are the two summary of the planning process of resource management plan. I will see you again in the next video with part 2 of project resource management. Till then, do like, share and comment on my video. Do subscribe, share with your friends, tell them to subscribe, and I will share with you some more information on your certification and help you out for that. And you take care and happy learning.